Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. The cabin is over there, the supply hut is right there. It's such a nice day. I figured, you know what, let's start outside right here. Let's not even have a hat on, for goodness sake. Garage sale season is here. I'm so excited, but there are two things I want to talk about today. I'm going to get on my soapbox twice today. I want to set the record straight on two things, one professional and one personal, and talk to y'all a little bit, plus show you some great sales. Let's go take a look. All right, y'all, I'm warning you right now, I'm gonna get on my soapbox after about 4 sales here. And then maybe after that, I'll jump off my soapbox for a minute or two. And then we're gonna get right back on it because there's two things I wanna talk about today. But I wanna talk about reselling like we always do. This is an extra small Roger Rabbit. That sold for $29. Free shipping. Sold a video game, sold Twisted Metal. You saw me sell Twisted Metal too. Whoa, I got stuff out in the hallway here. I don't know how that got there. I bet one of these creatures in there, one of those two in there, knocked it down. What do you think? This is what sold right here. PS1 game and Twisted Metal. It's in pretty darn good condition. Sold for $33.25. This is Twisted Metal 2, I think. No, it's Twisted Metal. That's right. $33.25 free ship. So you can see what I mean. I turned my head for just a second and somebody's got the dog treats, huh? I see what you're doing. We're back in the eBay cave. Sold something else out of here. This Sony Sports Mega Bass boombox. And this one right here sold for 55 bucks. Plus shipping. That's hard. I love these things. Whenever I pick them up, I'm like, should I keep it? Should I keep it? I'm like, I don't need it. I got 5 of these things. But these look so cool. $55 plus shipping. Next item was that Phillies sweatshirt you might remember got returned. And it got returned because it didn't fit. It's got the sweet Nike little embroidery right there on it. And this time it sold on Mercari, not eBay. And it sold pretty quick, $14 for that one, plus shipping. Next item is another Mercari sale, and therefore it's another List Perfectly sale, a cross-posting sale. And we still are importing. We haven't even cross-listed that many. I don't know that we've done any more than the original 35. The initial goal was to get most everything moved over to List Perfectly before we started cross-listing. And so I think it's pretty encouraging from my point of view to only have like 35 items actually cross-listed and to have some sales already. This is the 4th here in just a little over a weekend, so that's not bad. Love a Bella doll clothes. We bought one of these and it had corroded batteries, and I'm like, just take the clothes off, sell them. Because we paid $1 or $2 or something like that. And the clothes sold for $18 plus shipping. The first soapbox here I'm going to get on is ostensibly it's about cross-posting, cross-listing. I don't know, which one is it? Cross-posting or cross-listing? But it's not really about that. Really what it's about is minor disagreements among resellers in this community that people want to make into huge, big deals. And it just isn't. You know, I've tried to say this multiple times on multiple videos, and I keep getting messages about it, and I'm like, man, people are really, really passionate. So I'm going to try this one more time, and this is the least serious of the two soapboxes. I'll get on one in a minute I'm a little bit more passionate about. I just wanted to make a couple points, and I've tried to say this, and if you listen to this show, I've always tried to do this. You know, I like community. I like finding ways to create unity. I've done it my whole life. It's what I've tried to do. I don't always succeed. Oftentimes it falls flat, but I try to create that. It's just what I like. I don't like to be an individual, and this is a business that a lot of people are individuals at. Not even their own families embrace it. You're lucky if your family does embrace it, because most resellers are a different breed, and you're also very passionate. Well, sometimes that spills over into issues like cross-posting, and people have some big opinions about that. And I am totally about big opinions. I say often, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. I've tried to make the point that this is my decision, and this is why I'm doing it. I haven't gone into great detail, but to be honest with you, the biggest reason to me, because I've said this before, and I've talked to all the folks at all these companies, and I've used all of these products but one, whether it's List Perfectly, whether it's Flip, whether it's Vendu, whether it's a new one coming on board soon that you'll hear their name very soon. No matter what the product is, it's not that big of a deal. If you don't want to use the product at all, if you don't want to cross-list, that is the right decision for the great majority of people out there. is to not cross post, to not cross list for many, many reasons. But for a lot of people out there, it is the right decision. And I've explained my reason for why I chose List Perfectly, and it's exactly what I do in here. It's because of community. That's why I chose them. You don't need to choose them. You can do whatever you want. It's not going to affect me whatsoever. It's not gonna, all the people out there in the community that use something else, that's awesome. I chose this because I need help. I need community. I need outlets to get information. I love that stuff. And List Perfectly has the best. They have a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page. They have a YouTube channel. They're constantly out there in the community. That's what I love to do. I like to create that unity of things we all have in common. And some things we don't have in common, those are minor things. Because I use a Rollo printer, you know, am I going to hate Carrie because he didn't use a Rollo printer? I mean, it's just stupid, right? And I get criticism over that kind of stuff too. That stuff doesn't matter. Let's really talk about the things that we share and that we love. It's why I did Garage Sale Nation. You know, I love reselling, but one of my other passions is garage sales. I would go to garage sales if I wasn't a reseller. And so I created Garage Sale Nation on Facebook. I like to bring people together. I don't like to tear them apart. And cross-listing is, for some reason, tearing people apart. I don't know why people are so passionate about it and adamant about it, but they are. And I just say, hey, to each his own. If you want to join me on this journey with List Perfectly, awesome. There's a QR code right there. I didn't mean to do that, but hey, you know, that's what I do, right? If you don't, that's awesome too. Thank you to everybody out there who's given me feedback on what you use or what you don't use and why you don't use it or why you use it. I've enjoyed reading almost all of them, the ones that are nice, and I appreciate you. And you know what? That really goes for just about anything. It's not just what kind of thermal printer or non-thermal printer you use. It's not about if you cross-list or don't cross-list. It's not about any of that stuff. It's not about free shipping, calculated shipping, or flat rate shipping. Those are just minor things. And if people want to die on that hill, then go die on that hill. But you're going to be dying by yourself. All right, I can't get this out. Hold on. This is a vintage Stanley Square here. And for whatever reason, it's got some value. 39 bucks on this one. And so, you know, it's always worth taking a look at this kind of stuff. It's not going to be as hard to ship as you might think. Just a couple of flat pieces of cardboard. Now, I did free shipping on this. And that's one thing that I do a lot of. Not that I do a lot of free shipping. I mean that I do a lot of different types of shipping. I will do flat rate shipping. I will do calculated shipping. And I will do free shipping. And I've even been criticized for doing all three, that there's no rhyme or reason to it. There is a rhyme or reason to it. I specifically do all three to show people that you can do any which way you want, and for different people, different things fit better. But I constantly see criticism of people, I mean, real criticism of people, oh, they do free shipping, like, okay, or they do calculated shipping, how dumb, you know, or whatever. I mean, there's so many stupid, you can do it any which way. I could have done this for $29 calculated shipping. I could have done this for $31 flat rate shipping, or I could have done it for $39 free shipping. In the end, it doesn't make that much difference. Sold a record album here, Pretty Miss Norma Jean. I had a couple of these in here. I think this is the first one that sold. I imagine these can't be flying off the shelf anywhere, but this is not, of course, Marilyn Monroe, not to be confused. This is of Porter Wagner fame, and there you go, Porter Wagner. And also, what, she's on, I think she was Grand Ole Opry for a while as well. So there you go. Pretty good shape album. $8.55 plus shipping. By the way, I do build in a little bit of cost because to ship a record, of course you can send it medium mail, but to send a record out, you know, you're going to pay for this box. I got these from SupplyHut.com, code Commonwealth, 5% off. But you also are going to use either cardboard cutouts, which I have in the back. I'm not going to use that for a $8.55 record. I'll just put two pieces of bubble wrap, one above, one below, and then I'll put one of these over here. This one right here, I'll just slide that into there, take the record out, and put it in there. So there's a little cost, right? Here, two pieces of bubble wrap, and this. And so I build in a little bit extra and then bump it up, you know, about $1 for shipping. Speaking of shipping, I want to thank Brian. Thank Brian for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table over on CommonwealthPicker.com. About ready to get on the soapbox for one more time, so bear with me, but let's get one more sale in real quick. This one right here is, I set it out earlier, can you tell? Sometimes digging through these toy bins can be a little bit difficult. And that one right there is a Hot Wheels case. It's some old Hot Wheels. And it wasn't anything amazing, but the case is kind of cool, and the Hot Wheels in it are okay. $29.95 plus shipping. I know I said one more sale, but now we're going to do that giveaway that we did the other day for the fanny pack, which you had to put on the comments section down below. You had to put, by the way, if you're listening on Facebook, this has already happened, so you can put the comment down there if you want. Maybe we should do a Facebook giveaway one day. I'll tell you what, if you're listening on Facebook right now to this video, I want you to put the British name for what this is in the comments on Facebook, and then you'll get a chance to win this. So we'll do that giveaway on Facebook. But this one is for YouTube right here, and this one is going to Nikki Rex 20 because she put that down there along with a lot of other people and some funny remarks. I have to admit, this audience can crack me up sometimes. And I do like to have fun. I do like to laugh in this audience. Great. If you've ever watched the podcast, you know that we are irreverent a lot of times, but it's always in a good spirit and a good nature, I hope anyways, and it's pretty funny and we have a good time. Now, having said that, I want to get on my soapbox again for a little bit more serious of nature. It's you know, I see all kinds of stuff out there in the community. I see all kinds of messages coming at me, and I usually just dismiss them. But, you know, I've seen a lot lately that has been pretty insulting to people that I know, that I like, that I think are terrific people. And going with what we were talking about earlier, you know, I used to tell my classes, I taught high school. I know I say this all the time. I get ridiculed for saying this all the time. I taught high school for 21 years. I taught AP World History and World History 1 Advanced, World History 1 to regular level kids as well. I mean, I taught every socioeconomic level, every single race, religion. I taught all of it. And so I got a lot of experience dealing with a lot of different opinions and different people. And one thing I know for sure, and I used to tell my students, is that, you know, there's two ways to unify people. And one way to unify people is through commonality, things you have in common. Where we're talking about cultures and nations, we're talking about religion and language and cuisine even, and trade and entertainment, and all these things unite us. But there's another way to unite people as well, and the other way to unite people is through division. I know that seems odd, but I'll give you an example. You know, it's called the common enemy example for unity. One way to unite a group of people, let's take the British and the French, for instance. One way that the Franks became French and knew they were French as opposed to something else was because they weren't British. And I think that's a lot of times what we get when we see these comments and these criticism of other people. You know, you can either be with them or you can be with us. That is a dangerous way to have unity. I'd rather focus on the things we love, the sourcing, right? Whether it's, I don't source the bins, I don't source thrift stores often, I don't source estate sales all that often. I just happen to love garage sales. But the hunt is still the same. I'm not going to be critical of people who want to go to estate sales or who want to go to this or that or to do their sourcing in that particular way. And I think we can get trapped into doing that sometimes, and it becomes divisive. Another way we can do it is by looking at the numbers, and I've heard a lot of people, and they'll comment about me sometimes, whether it's a message or in a chat somewhere or something, and they'll say things like, you know, this person only sells this much, they're not a real reseller, or they don't do this, or they don't do this. Listen, there's so many ways to do this out there. There's so many people. There's so many different people. The stories I love the most are the people that have disabilities out there reselling, right? And you know, there's tons of them out there. There's tons on YouTube, for goodness sake. And I don't say this often, and he wouldn't want me to say this either, but if you ever seen Pick and Roll, are you kidding me? Talk about a drive in somebody. You know, there's different ways to do this, and people are limited in certain ways, and sometimes they take their limitation and they turn it into something great. And, you know, I'm all about all the people out there in this community doing stuff different ways. I'm rambling on, and I'm going to get back to that point in a second, but let me make the point I'm trying to make. I have no intention of changing, and I have never, if you've been listening to this show for a while, I have never claimed that this is the way to resell. I have never told people to quit their jobs and to resell. As a matter of fact, if you listen to me, when I have interviews in here, I always bring in full-time resellers. And I always say, if you're going to be a full-time reseller, this isn't the way to really do it. Unless unless you don't need a whole ton of extra income, because you can do it this way. The reality is, y'all, and I don't talk about numbers much, but we sell gross over $100,000 a year, and I don't put more than about 15 hours into reselling a week. A lot of people don't realize that. I put a ton of time into YouTube a week. I used to be a high school history teacher, 40 to 50 hours a week. When I was coaching, it was 60 hours a week, and then I'd put 15 hours into reselling. I was a part-time reseller. And I do the same thing. I traded teaching for social media, and I still enjoy to have people watch me being a part-time reseller. And we do pretty darn good at it. I have no intention of changing. If I wanted to change, I would. To me, that's a job. I will never change what I'm doing because I love it. And I love people. Here's Chris. I got Chris up here, my buddy, old school picker. He always says, here it is right here, sell what you find, right there. And I think that's exactly right. And I used to hear Craigslist Hunter used to say this, and I really took it to heart, because I used to have dreams of having a retail shop and doing what he did and having stuff come in. And he said, you know what? One thing I wish I would have never done is do that. I could have done this with a shop without having a storefront, right? And he also used to say, I remember listening to him, and he'd say, not sell what you find, but sell what you love. Sell what you want to sell, because then you're not going to a job every day. And that's what I'm going to do as long as I can. And the reality is, a lot of you out there allow me to do that. If I had to depend on an income for my family just by reselling, I would make the connections needed. I could make them right now. I have 4 or 5 possible connections I could make right now, this very second, to supply me with goods to sell. I don't want to do it. I love the search. That's what I love. Plus the content on the Commonwealth Picker channel. I don't want to do it. I have no intention of changing. I hope you out there don't change what you want to do. Talking to Cameron over there, Gravity Goods, they just hit 1,000. He likes to sell ephemera and postcards. So does Pittsburgh Picker. I don't want to sell that. It's not what I like to sell. But you know what? They like to sell it. Good for them. I'm not going to be critical of them because they're not making, you know, $1 million a year. They're making what they have to. And that's the key. Make what you have to make, whether you're doing it with a real job. You know, how many of y'all out there work 40, 50 hours a week and you still want to resell 10 hours a week, but you want to do it on your terms? Good for you. And, you know, there's other folks. There's Dante right there, Amazon. I hate Amazon. I don't ever want to sell Amazon. But I'm happy for you to sell Amazon. You know, he sells on multiple platforms. Look at Kerry. He sells baseball cards. I hate selling baseball cards. Good for Kerry. Some of y'all out there, you criticize me all the time for not picking up X, Y, or Z, or not bringing a trailer to an event or what. I don't want to bring a trailer. I want to pick and sell. So I just encourage y'all out there to be who you are, to pick what you want to pick, to sell what you need to sell what you want to sell, to make ends meet, to pay for your kids to go to college, to help your friends, to help your neighbors, to pay off your debt. If you're doing it full time, hey, hopefully you can learn 1 or 2 things from me. But you know what? A lot of you full-timers out there have taught me. Trans Am Firebird keychain to Bianca. Bianca, you might be a viewer, so I'm going to say thank you. If you're not a viewer, we might have had a viewerless sale day today. But it says repeat buyer, so I'm pretty sure you are, unless you bought one of these earlier and came back for another one. And this was on clearance, $11.50, free ship. I'm about ready to get back on my soapbox because there's a couple more things I want to say, but I want to give a big thank you here. Do I have a name on here? eBay store is We Sell It All. You've inspired me to crack down on my eBay store. We sell it all. For that matter, the whole reason I started was your content. Awesome, very cool. Watch all channels, including Dave and Carrie. Well, see, speaking of Dave, so you can be critical of Dave because that's not how you resell. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. You know, I actually enjoy watching Dave NC Flipper's channel just for this very reason that I'm talking about. Is because, you know, I say all the time, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Dave is actually a good picker. And people don't give him credit for being such a good picker. It's because he can't put down the things that he shouldn't be picking, right? But you know what? He enjoys it. He likes it. It works for him. More power to you. So I don't have a name here, but I wanted to thank you. That is really cool. My kids love this movie, and I love Robin Williams. Just terrific actor. Gone way too soon. Sad story, but man, he was incredible. incredible. I loved him in Popeye. That was my favorite. So my boy Stones sold a Popeye sealed VHS the other day. I was super jealous. I wish I'd have seen it beforehand. At any rate, that one's pretty cool. Thank you. I'll add it to my collection. All right, back on the soapbox one more time. I'll tell you what, you know, I appreciate you listening to me. It's been weighing on me for quite a while. I see so many people out there. You know, I know a lot of folks who are resellers in the community who aren't on YouTube, and I meet them out there at those garage sale events. We get together, we, you know, have a drink or two, and we eat some pizza, and we go picking together, and they're just great people. And I could name them all off, but you know who you're talking about. And every one of them does it different. And everyone has an expertise, and I so enjoy my dog's trying to get in. Actually, that's a Pepper claw. Come on, Pepper. I can tell. It's like these silly cats and dogs. They all have their own little imperfections and perfections, and it makes it a... Actually, it makes it a pain in the butt, let's be honest. No, I so enjoy when the Reseller Information Network guys come to pick, because when you go out picking with them, they're all looking for different stuff. And they all have expertises, and I've learned so much from them. And like I said, bringing these people in to do their interviews of real full-time resellers. You know, you talk about Golden State Picker out there. He's gonna be on an episode here soon. He crushes it. He's got a totally different situation than a lot of us. A lot of us don't have the opportunities to get the things that he gets, but he makes an insane amount of money just reselling, mostly on eBay, but also on Amazon, going almost entirely just to thrift stores. You know, I see Nashville Flippers out there, and he's going to those Amazon stores, and I can't stand that stuff. But he kills it in there. You know, Rural Squirrel going to those bins out there. There's so many people who source different ways. They sell different merchandise, and I love all of it, and I embrace all of it out there. And I love to hear about your stuff. There's a gentleman who wrote me not long ago who he sells nothing but car parts. That's it. Speaking of the Reseller Information Network, guys, Leroy sells tools. Tons and tons of tools. Labor intensive sometimes, but it's his knowledge. I can't imagine Tim ever giving up selling glass. You know, it's labor intensive. It's hard work. The profits are there, but you got to know what you're doing. He's never going to give it up because it's in his heart. Thanks to Ma Dukes. You know, Chernock's Connection, he could be a millionaire and he's never walking by a pile of vintage hats. He'll never walk past it. He's going to stop and he's going to look. Eric out there is like me. He sells a bit of everything, but if he spots golf clubs from a mile away, he's a magnet to him. You know, Mel, back from Burnout. I don't want anything to do with selling books. I like to sell a book every now and again, but I don't want a warehouse full of books. But she crushes it over there. If that's what you want to do, go do that. One of the things I used to hate as a teacher is when the administration would send a new young teacher to me and they would be like, all right, you know, help this teacher out. And I'm like, oh, geez. Not that I didn't want to help the teacher out. It's that if I was, you know, some 23-year-old teacher who was struggling a little bit and the administration came to me and said, oh, go talk to him, he'll fix it, I'd get ticked off. So I hated when they do that. And so my instruction to those teachers was actually really, really simple. And it wasn't about, you know, lesson plans and how to do this and how to do all the rigmarole they have you tell them to do. I told them to focus on two things. I said, pick 2 kids in the classroom. Every class you teach, pick 2 kids and teach those 2 kids. They'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, listen, pick that kid who's the most popular kid in the class. You know, they got everything in the world going for them. Didn't matter if it was a boy, didn't matter if it was a girl, whatever it was. They got money, they're smart, everybody loves them. Pick that kid, teach him, and then pick the kid in the back of the room that nobody talks to, that has 0 confidence whatsoever, that doesn't believe they have any value whatsoever, and teach that kid. And if you taught this kid and you taught that kid, then everybody else in between got exactly what they needed. And that's the way I view this show right here. I view it exactly like that. There's a lot of people out there who really have everything going for them. They know exactly what they're doing. They've been selling for tons of years. They know all the tips, the tricks. They're the cool kids. And they teach me a lot of times. I wasn't arrogant enough to think that every kid in my classroom was dumb. A lot of them were smarter than me. And I've had the chance to learn from a lot of you full-time resellers out there who do it the right way. And I appreciate that. And at the same time, I want to be talking to that kid in the back of the room that knows nothing. We did that dumb question video the other day, and I had people say, oh, that's insulting. You know why I did the dumb question video? I never mentioned any names because I got a lot of those dumb questions, and I got to answer them for the kid in the back of the room that never, ever had the confidence to even answer the question. And so I answered the question that they thought was dumb. You know what I got the next day? I got 15 questions from people who were afraid ever to ask that question. But now that I did that video, they emailed me and said, hey, I got a dumb question for you. And I was able to answer that question. Be careful who you criticize and how you criticize them, because you don't know everybody's situation. This is a great example. I get messages all the time from people that tell me they have a disability or they're in their 80s and they're reselling, and they thank me for selling things that they can pick up and that they can wrap. And they thank me for doing that because it gives them ideas. For selling mousetrap balls, for selling, well, I don't have them up here anymore. There they are right there. Backgammon replacement pieces, because they can do it. For showing them the things that they can make an extra $40, $50 on a week so that that'll help them get by. This is an example right here, you know. I love VHS. I don't care that this is $5 plus shipping. I don't care that I'm making $3 on it. I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it. I got this right here. That sold to Michael as well. And I don't know what that sold for, to be honest with you, but let's just say it's probably around $10 total for both of those, the VHS and this. So there was a viewer sale today. And these old Harlequin romance books. And we didn't pay mine 10 cents a piece or something. I don't know. This video is coming out. Maybe you've already seen it, or you're going to see it soon. And that set sold for $33.20 plus shipping. So I had to come back in here and check. Michael, you are the one that purchased that. It was only $4 plus shipping. So that with the VHS sold for let me do some math, $9 plus shipping. Now I've got to ship it. I'm going to ship it probably first class, because I can get both of these first class. Can't do media mail like this, so you might as well just do it all together first class. So Michael, thank you. I appreciate that. These books were cool. We pulled out a few different sets out of the bunch we got, I think, or at least two. But, you know, I don't do books that often, but I saw these and I'm like, you know what? As a lot, these are going to sell. So I'm pretty happy with the sale, right around $34 on those right there. All right, y'all. Turner has been absolutely obsessed with Bigfoot lately, haven't you? Yeah. Like it? We're reading Harry and the Hendersons book, and then we're going to watch the movie, right? All right, you got a Bigfoot joke for me?
Yeah.
What you got?
Bigfoot finally got married.
Bigfoot finally got married. Why did he get married?
Because he met his soul mate.
His soulmate. I like it. Very, very good. Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
And then we got a message, because we donated here. You all donated to a charity. Over there, Rachel Strickland did for, let's see, this is from Chrissy here. Thank you so much for the hand-painted, very well-designed tape gun. That was the one that Reagan did. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And they sent us a magnet for autism awareness for our little donation there. We could not have raised a large amount without your support. Oh, sure you could have, y'all. Thank you. But I do appreciate that. Happy to help. Let's find a good place to put this here. What do you think? Right there?
Yeah, right there.
You like that? Maybe we should put it up here. Put it on that thing. But we'll keep it there for now. All right, bud. Thanks.
Bye.
Speaking of selling what I love to sell, ashtrays. That one right there. That one's a pretty cool little green one. I paid $1 for it at the 301 sale, I believe. And it had a little tiny chip right there as well. Still sold for $20 plus shipping. Wallen's favorite snack is ears. You like to eat ears, don't you?
He likes to eat mine and no name's ears. I think it's because of my earrings.
All right. Do you remember the two names people bought stuff out of your store?
Connie got an Innoman, and Melissa got a mug, CWP mug, and a fanny pack.
That's right. That's very good. Thank
He's
you
getting so
very much.
big.
Thank y'all for your purchases. We appreciate it.
Bye, and don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthBigger.com.
As you know, I love to sell vintage clothing. This is a vintage shirt here. It's only, it's not single stitch. It's definitely double stitch, and it has issues like crazy. And this one might not even be vintage. Let me look at the date. Yeah, 2011. Definitely not vintage. Boot Hill Saloon. And this one, I don't even know where I got it, to be honest with you. I got a cat in here. Sold for $10.15 after an offer plus shipping. Look at that, a no-name sighting. What are you doing? This is my favorite cat, y'all. Awesome cat. Fat, awesome cat. Bought this Tommy shirt, I think for $1. And it was brand new. You know, sometimes you pull out something in a rack and you're like, oh man, that was brand new. $69.50 retail. Boy, my colors are off on this. And so I paid $1, pretty sure. Sold for $28 plus shipping. Actually, $28.50. This little Chanel lipstick right here sold for $20 free shipping. Hey, I'm just going to end the show right here. Wanted to thank you, as we always do. I say this every once in a while, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. it started all here in this eBay cave, and with that Enaman back there, and just doing a little show about how we do some part-time reselling to make enough money to make ends meet on a low salary, one income position, so that we can do the things that we love to do. And you guys have made all of this possible, and we'll never forget it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next time.